Hello shrimpers, Armand here from Shrimpstop. Today we're going to look at Cardina shrimp, more specifically crystal shrimp. You get two color types, namely red crystals or black crystals. Now CRS or CBS are usually the second type of shrimp that people get when they have a little bit more experience in keeping shrimp. They are a bit more difficult to keep than normal cherry shrimp and shouldn't be attempted by novice shrimp keepers, but rather by somebody that has kept shrimp in the past and that has bred them successfully a few times. CRS and CBS are still some of the most popular shrimp in the hobby. The coloration makes this shrimp stand out in most tanks, more so than Neocardina. There is a grading system that has been developed and some grades of crystal shrimp have become very expensive, but more about that a little bit later. First, a bit of history. Most Cardina shrimp occur naturally in Southeast Asia, and in 1991 Mr. Suzuki started breeding. He noticed a single red bee shrimp in a batch of about 1,000 shrimp and was fascinated by it. This first red bee shrimp died, but 3 generations later he discovered 3 more red bee shrimp among the thousands he had bred. After many cycles of selective breeding from redder offspring, he finally arrived at true red bee shrimp. In 1996 he named it crystal red shrimp and has been awarded a patent for this recessive red mutation of the normal bee shrimp. Since then, crystal red shrimp has been further refined by the founder and other breeders to produce specimens with larger white patches and intensified red coloration. Crystal shrimp are fairly small shrimp, growing to a max size of about 2.5 to 3 centimeters. The average lifespan is about 1.5 to 2 years. At the ages of 4.5 and 5 months, at a size of just over 2 centimeters, the shrimp are ready to reproduce in your tank. Crystal shrimp can crossbreed with other Cardina shrimp, so it is highly advised that you not keep them with other types of Cardina in the same tank if you want to keep your lines pure. Now, before you run out and buy some, let's talk about the water parameters that they need before you go. Crystal shrimp prefer a soft acidic water. Clean water is also a must, as with all other shrimp. However, crystal shrimp may be more vulnerable shrimp when housed in dirty water. Water changes is a must for the species. It is recommended that the temperature should be lower than 24 degrees Celsius and the pH should range between 6.2 and 7.2. The GA should be around 4 to 6 with a KH of 0 to 1. It is very important that crystal shrimp be housed in specific conditions, so if you can't meet those criteria exactly, at least be consistent in your water quality. Extremes in either water parameters should be avoided. It cannot be stressed enough how delicate the shrimp can be. As you approach higher grades of the species, water parameters become even more important. To keep your water parameters at these levels, it is strongly advised that you keep them on a buffering substrate. There's a lot of different brands on the market, so get the best one that you can afford at that time. Some of the brands that I use in my tanks are ADA Amazonia, Langa, Shrimp King, and even Akadama Bonsai soil. Now, a quick explanation of what a buffering substrate is. It reduces and keeps your water at a stable pH. So if your water is at a higher pH out of the tap, the buffering substrate will reduce it. It's also advised, if you get higher grades of crystal shrimp or other bee shrimp, that you use RO water and a remineralizer like salty shrimp or Shrimp King. Have a look at the description if you can't find these at your local pet store. So after your tank is up and running and cycled, you would want to go get some of these, but what to get. As with cherry shrimp, there's different grades and types, but not only grades, patterns as well. There are 2 types of grading scales to our knowledge. The one is the C to SSS grades and the other the K grading scale. For this video we are going to use the S to SS grading scale. We use the same grading scale and pattern scale for red and black crystals. So let's start at the top and work our way down the list. The SSS grade crystal shrimp has the most white coloration out of all the grades below it. It follows the rule in crystal shrimp grading that the more white coloration, the higher the grade. One SSS grade can be higher than another dependent on the features, including the different patterns on the head, eye coloration, leg coloration, and even antenna coloration. As the grading gets higher, there is even more factors that can make a single specimen more prized than the other of the same grade, like the different patterns of red or black. The SS grade crystal shrimp has more red coloration than the triple S grade. The additional coloration is located in the mid portion of the body, typically on the top. The double S grade is usually given when there is a Hainamura, which signifies the sun in the Japanese flag. The S grade has even more red coloration than the double S or triple S grades. The additional coloration is located more along the sides of the body versus the double S grade, which is mostly on the top portion. The S grade crystal shrimp's color is a lot more evenly separated between white and red or black. The A grade crystal shrimp is the most popular grade for beginners. A lack of any special features or pattern is typical of the A grade. The distribution of red or black and white coloration can differ between where some can have 3 or 4 white bands. The B grade crystal shrimp is typically of a poor distribution of red or black and white coloration with an almost complete lack of any fully white bands. The C grade crystal is what the very first crystal shrimp looked like. Over the time, the white coloration was bred out to become more prevalent than the red coloration or black coloration. Now for breeding. First off, you'll need to tell which is male or female. This can be very difficult at a juvenile stage. Once females reach adulthood, you can easily tell the difference between them and males. Females are easy to identify as they are larger and also have a curved underbelly. The saddle of the female shrimp may be virtually impossible to see due to the coloration. Like all shrimp in the hobby, the crystal shrimp can breed just as readily as other Cardina species, and it will also produce just as many offspring if the water conditions and parameters are met. The babies of the crystal shrimp are colored just like their parents after being born. However, the grading of the offspring cannot be performed until they grow a little bit more. You will see the coloration in the shrimp offspring, but not the detailed features and patterns which can differentiate between grade. Unfortunately, crystal shrimp is a severely inbred species. Obtaining higher grades means that breeders will produce offspring from the same genetic strain. Due to overbreeding, the crystal shrimp can be more delicate and susceptible to diseases as well as slight changes in water conditions as mentioned previously. This is why it is recommended that you gain experience in shrimp keeping first. Also note that as with cherry shrimp, if you introduce a higher grade shrimp into the colony with a few lower grade shrimp, you will be able to improve the grade of your shrimps going forward. And lastly, we're going to cover feeding. Crystal shrimp is not that different from any other type of shrimp. Only feed the amount of food that the shrimp can finish within a 2 to 3 hour period. It is not good to feed an excess of food, as sitting food can pollute your water. Remember that shrimps are scavengers in the wild. They will eat whatever they find and is not used to a constant food source. Like we said, there's nobody in nature that goes out and feeds shrimps, and the majority of their food is biofilm. Not feeding for 1 or 2 days is fine and will not harm the species at all. Sometimes it's better not to feed for a couple of days to let them cleanse their systems and keep your water conditions at optimum. I hope that you found this video useful, and if you would like to see more of them, please click here or here. Thanks for watching to the end, and remember to like and subscribe and hit that bell notification. Thanks and goodbye.